It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
All right, this next question is from Juan. Juan said, what should I do if I have 3 to 4 times a 6-month emergency fund? So I think that means like 18 to 24 months, if I'm doing my math right. We're scared to invest in case the market crashes.
Yeah.
So right now, at this present recording, market's been doing pretty well for a while now. It sounds like Juan built his first 6-month emergency fund. He's like, well, I'll just build another one, and I'll build another one. So he's got a lot of cash. And he's thinking, man, I want to get this army of dollar bills working for me, but I'm nervous, and I'm scared, and the market's frightening, and it's at all-time highs. How should he think about that? What are some things he could do to cope with that?
Well, I mean, we get the question. I mean, it was just yesterday, coming back from the airport, and people find out what you do for a living, and they're like, hey, what do you think the market's going to do? Should I be investing right now? And I said, look, here's all I can tell you. Whatever happens in the market, I will be buying next month. I'll be buying the month after that. I'll be buying 5 years after that.
Yep.
I just buy every month. And I think a lot of people, they look at this thing and they try to figure out what's the best point of entry. And part of this is because we always hear the adage, buy low, sell high. Look, the selling high is going to happen when you retire 20, 30, 40 years in the future. You don't have to get it right. You just have to go ahead and get it in now. But I also understand somebody who, like Juan, who's now built up. He started with a 3 to 6 months, but it's now turned into 18 to 24 months. If you're retiring next year, 18 months to 36 months doesn't sound horrible to me. But if Juan is, somebody who's not retiring for 20 years, that's an issue. But I also understand we're working through some psychological problems, or not problems, but just it's a coping thing of, wow, I feel like markets are at all-time highs. I would feel ridiculous if I bought right now and then the market got beat up next month. So what we do on all those people who come, because this is not an unusual thing. We have people come to us with this problem all the time. We'll create a strategy. We'll say, look, maybe you need to dollar cost average that pot of money that's above and beyond your emergency reserves over the next 6 months, over the next 10 months, so that you can have a system to put the money to work. And look, it can be a dynamic system, meaning that if all of a sudden you were in month 2 and the market got beat up like it did in 2020 with the pandemic and went down 20%, you can always accelerate into a dollar cost averaging plan where you're buying even more. But more than likely what will happen is you're going to fast forward 6 to 10 months in the future. The money will have worked. Now it's fully invested. You've created a monthly savings plan. The money will have made some money, and you'll be like, hey, now I'm finally back into it. I'm invested. I'm diversified, and it worked. But Juan, at some point, you got to quit trying to time the market. You just got to trust that, look, I talk about the fact, you got to trust the fact that things are always improving. We're always innovating. There's always going to be better technology, and you're going to be able to buy and invest into that. If you think about how much we as the human race have accomplished in the last 20 years, it's probably going to be 2, 3, 4 times even greater in the next 20 years because this is actually accelerating. Innovation and opportunities are actually increasing despite what the news media tells you. So get on board with that one and create a systematic plan that lets you take out the behavioral limitations that are keeping you from being part of it.
Yeah, I love the dollar cost averaging solution. The other thing that I'd say is if you are skittish, make sure you have a risk appropriate portfolio, right? So make sure that when you're going into this dollar cost averaging plan, you probably aren't the type of person that needs a 95-5 portfolio, meaning 95 risk on, 5% risk off type assets. You may need something a little more balanced, a little more well diversified. Find out what type of portfolio is going to allow you to stay the course. Because you said it, Brian. In that second month, if the market gets like its teeth kicked in, you should get excited and think about accelerating. But if you're already skittish, I would bet that second month market freaks out. You're going to be like, I'm done with this, right? So make sure you have a portfolio that appropriately measures the risk that makes sense for your unique risk tolerance as well as your unique risk capacity. And if you do that well in the front end, you're going to have a much higher probability of success with staying the course through the rest of your investment plan.